Cinematic games are pushing realism to new heights, with advanced lighting, detailed environments, and lifelike animation. These upcoming titles focus on immersive storytelling and grounded world design. Each one aims to deliver a visually striking experience that feels closer to film than ever before. Let's get into it. Woochi the Wayfarer is a single-player fantasy action-adventure RPG based on the Joseon-era tale of the Taoist wizard Joan Woochi, where the player uses magic and trickery to fight corrupt figures and hostile creatures drawn from Korean mythology. Combat revolves around spell use, timing, and tactical actions against enemies, while the setting recreates historical Korea with detailed locations and cultural elements. The game uses Unreal Engine 5 for high-fidelity visuals and features music by composer Jung Jae-il, with development supported by experts in Korean history and traditional arts.
기어코 여기까지. 참으로 정성이십니다.
Forest 3 is a survival horror game where the player wakes after a ship crash on a dark alien planet and must survive in a hostile environment filled with strange humanoid creatures. The game uses a first-person view and shifts the setting from forests to a sci-fi landscape marked by isolation and danger. Early footage hints at new mechanics, including unusual body changes like a third arm, suggesting different ways to interact with tools, combat, and survival systems.
Into lands uncharted and dangers untold.
Highguard is a PvP raid shooter where teams of 3 play as wardens, arcane gunslingers who ride across a mythical continent to gather resources, upgrade weapons, and prepare for attacks on rival crews. Each match begins with securing a base, reinforcing defenses, and choosing the right loadout. Magical storms create the Shieldbreaker sword, and teams must capture it, carry it across the battlefield, break enemy shields, and destroy the opposing stronghold while protecting their own base.
Here we go! Bringing the heat!
Light belongs to me.
Moving in for the attack.
Shieldbreaker forming.
tower coming in!
The enemy is off gate!
I'm coming for you!
Marking baddies from above.
It's my turn. I am the coming storm. I am a warden, and this is my oath.
Shelter. Looks like we got some backup power here.
Pragmata is a science fiction action-adventure where players control Hugh, who must work with an android companion named Diana while moving through a cold lunar research station in the near future. The game centers on combat combined with a hacking system that requires both characters to act together to overcome enemies and obstacles. Players navigate the station, use hacking to affect the environment, and rely on coordination between Hugh's actions and Diana's abilities.
Crap! Jump, Hugh!
This friggin' thing is tough as hell!
We can use this to hit harder and beat things faster. We did it! Something's aiming at us. Leave it to me. I got him.
Not bad. Leave the shooting to me. That was easy. Guess it's my turn.
Missile spotted. Right back at ya.
Good job, kid. Now it's my turn.
Move, Hugh.
Get some!
Hacking.
You're going down.
Look out.
Take that!
Hugh.
Right on. How you like this?
Got it.
Diana. Diana?
Yeah? What?
See this spot? You think we can get here in one piece?
Yeah. We'll go, and if you don't get hurt, that means it's safe. Let's go.
Tell me if I got this straight.
Here Tell of Hauntings is a third-person survival horror game set in 1897 where former outlaw Adelaide Clancy enters the abandoned Wraith Manor in the mountains of Montana to search for a missing sheriff. Players move through interconnected halls and gardens, solve puzzles, unlock shortcuts, and uncover the estate's history. Combat uses frontier-era weapons like revolvers, rifles, and shotguns, but ammunition is limited and noise can attract enemies, making resource management and careful planning important.
It's just about the size of it, Deputy. But what do you care? I mean, both these folks been dead and buried going on 30 years now.
Well, then it's awful kind of them to send me a wedding invitation, ain't it? And I reckon it's time I pay 'em a visit.
The sun is forever.
Saros is a third-person action game where players control Soltari enforcer Arjun Devraj while investigating a lost colony on the planet Carcosa. Combat mixes shooter and bullet hell mechanics, with a shield that blocks, attacks, and absorbs projectile energy to power special weapons. The game uses a roguelike structure with persistent upgrades, allowing players to improve weapons and suit abilities after each death. While moving through the planet, players collect holograms that reveal the colony's history and events.
You left us here. We've lost people. There's no way to get home, and you...
Lies! This is what it does. It gets in our heads, and it twists, and it turns.
I won't break our promise. I will make everything perfect again. I know you're here, and I will find you.
Screamer is an arcade racing game set in a futuristic tournament where drivers from different backgrounds compete using combat-ready vehicles with unique abilities. Races combine speed and fighting mechanics through the ecosystem, which lets players use boost for acceleration, strike to hit rivals, and shield for defense. Managing these abilities builds toward overdrive, a high-power state that increases speed and attack potential. Different modes include team-based races and objectives that reward aggressive driving as well as positioning.
And they are also designed a little bit more for fighting compared to racing. Leader cars, on the other hand, are designed for racing first and foremost, and fighting in addition to that. Combining them and finding a character that play following your preferences is key to enjoying the game.
With all the things going on in Screamer while racing and fighting, we had to give the players a full control over the cars, regardless they are member or leader cars. So we thought about achieving a perfect drift system with a twin stick control. So with the left stick, you control the steering. You can take very clean and fluid corners, sweeping and tweaking the line of the car. But if you need something more radical, and quite often you'll need to do so, to change the direction or to drift around corners or to engage other cars in the fighting part, you'll use the right stick. That triggers the drift mechanic separately from the steering one. So you can interact them, so you can drift, steer, or correct the drifting with the steering part. So you can achieve complete control over your car. The difference is really remarkable because usually you need to enter in other games the drift state, typically using the brakes. But it's very hard to understand when to do so and how to do it precisely and how to exit the drift. While in Screamer you have complete control over the two phases and you can blend them seamlessly, achieving a total control over your car.
The twin stick is just one of our gameplay systems. Another one is the Eco. The Eco is a device installed on all vehicles that have to take part in the tournament, and it's a major plot point of our story. The Eco is what fuels both the racing and the fighting part of this game. For the racing, you will use a resource that we call Sync, that allows you to boost and to shield. Instead, for the fighting, you will use what we call the Entropy, that allows you to use the mechanics of strike and overdrive.
So as Federico was saying, Sync is used for boosting and shielding against attacks. But how do you build it? Well, there's a passive way, just getting into the groove of the race, or actively building it up with specific actions like active shift, or doing KOs or others. It's all integrated into the mechanics and to the gameplay of Screamer, but we'll cover it more in the next video, going deeper in all the mechanics and how do they work.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a collection that combines the single-player content of Mass Effect, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3, along with over 40 DLC packs in one package. Players create Commander Shepard, build a squad, and take part in story-driven missions across the galaxy. Combat uses third-person shooting mixed with character abilities and squad commands, while dialogue choices and decisions carry over between the three games and affect missions, relationships, and major story outcomes. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake is a full remake of the 2003 RPG, updating its story and gameplay systems for modern hardware. Players take control of a customizable character in a story-driven adventure, build a party, and use abilities, weapons, and force powers in combat. The project moved from Aspyr Media to Saber Interactive during development, and the team is continuing work on the remake, with no new public gameplay footage released since the initial teaser. Captured 2 is a survival horror game where a missing teenage girl is trapped in an endless hallway inside her apartment and must find a way out. Players move through changing rooms, use a camera to capture strange anomalies, and recover fragments of her lost memories. Deadly entities shaped like childhood toys roam the loops, each with different behaviors. Survival depends on using the flashlight, doors, and camera carefully while navigating the procedurally generated spaces.
I know you will make it right. Blood for blood.
Norse Oath of Blood is a turn-based tactics game set in Viking Age Norway, where players control Gunnar, a young warrior in exile seeking revenge after his father is killed. The game combines settlement management with tactical battles as players assign villagers to jobs, gather resources, and upgrade buildings to unlock new units and equipment. Combat uses positioning, elevation, and unit abilities, with different warriors offering unique skills that shape strategy on the battlefield.
If they see you as the strongest oak at the heart of the wood, then you must accept the responsibility of being a leader.
The gods gather their war host for Ragnarok.
Your people will look to you to lead them through times of bountiful harvests and through famine. You must be the wise arbiter of their disputes. You must forge blades and build ships. You must lead your warriors in battle. Stand like a rock in the blood fray with them. Reward them with meat and mead and silver.
This is what I have been waiting for.
Protect their women and their young ones. And protect your own honor, too.
Traitor!
Will you do all this, Gunnar, son of Grim? Will you swear it here, before these people and before the gods?
I swear it. I swear.
Stranger Than Heaven is an action RPG set in 1915 Japan, where players control Mako Daito in a third-person, combat-focused experience. The game features heavy, grounded fights using fists, melee weapons, guns, and tools like Molotov cocktails, with interactive environments playing a role in battles. Survival elements such as hunger and thirst meters affect the character over time. Players also face moral decisions, including choices that determine whether enemies are spared or killed.
Got a name?
Mako Daito.
Daito. A Jap then, huh?
Don't I look like one?
You're not? So, what are you then?
Sana. 俺が知りてえや。
E ora olaiem loite fativi.
Planet of Lana II is a puzzle platformer where players guide Lana and her companion Mui across a hand-painted planet divided by new technology and growing conflicts between tribes. Gameplay combines platforming, environmental puzzles, and timing-based actions that rely on cooperation between the two characters. Lana uses improved agility, including wall jumps and smooth movement, while Mui helps activate mechanisms and distract threats. The story unfolds without spoken dialogue, using visuals, music, and player actions to reveal the planet's history. Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG where players control Soul, a warrior with 66 days left to live after being framed for his master's death. Combat focuses on fast martial arts attacks, weapon combos, and special techniques gained from defeated enemies. Players can use more than 30 weapons and combine different Phantom edges to shape their fighting style. The story unfolds through missions that involve assassins, conspiracies, and shifting alliances across a dark fantasy setting.
How did it feel to learn the truth about the night sky tragedy?
ArcheAge Chronicles is an online action RPG set in the land of Aurora, where players join a trading company and take part in story-driven quests, battles, and life skill activities. Combat uses real-time action with melee, ranged, and magic weapons, along with dodging, blocking, and parrying. Outside combat, players can gather resources, farm, craft items, build housing, and trade with others. The game also includes cooperative play and PvP, with groups defending trade routes and competing over territory.
Prove yourself. If you survive this trial,
someone must have been telling lies. Yet, this morning...
Militsioner is a first-person immersive sim where the player tries to escape a small town while being watched by a giant policeman who reacts to their actions. Players explore streets, shops, and apartments to find ways to reach the train station, using dialogue, gifts, theft, or stealth to solve problems. Characters have mood systems that change based on interactions, and the giant reacts to noise, behavior, and time of day. creating different outcomes as players repeat attempts to escape.
The sky breaks. It's time. He's here.
When the universe has collapsed and all reality has run out of time, you do.
Out of Time is a co-op roguelite where a squad fights through fractured timelines filled with enemies, bosses, and changing challenges. Players choose weapons and gear that grant different abilities, shaping roles like damage, support, or defense. A tether system links teammates, rewarding those who stay close with shared buffs and healing. Each run takes place across mixed eras with dynamic maps and events, and success unlocks new gear, timelines, and upgrades for future attempts. Vanran is a dark fantasy action RPG where a fallen slave wields a sealed blade and fights through hostile lands to spark a rebellion. Combat uses fast, Souls-like mechanics with dodging, parrying, and chain attacks against enemies and large bosses. Players move through trap-filled maps and randomly generated dungeons, collect armor and loot, and grow stronger through automatic progression systems. Choices made during the story lead to multiple endings centered on vengeance or salvation. The Lift Supernatural Handyman Simulator is a first-person simulation game where the player wakes inside an abandoned research facility and takes on renovation tasks across its many floors. Gameplay revolves around repairing machinery, fixing furniture, building electrical circuits, and crafting tools from recycled parts. The lift acts as a mobile base while the player moves between different sections of the complex, meets characters, and uncovers the cause of the mysterious incident that left the facility drifting in space. War Mechanic is an open-world action-adventure where players control mercenary Jack Wallace on the island of Nordhook, tasked with restoring an abandoned military base. Gameplay mixes combat, resource scavenging, and crafting as players gather materials, build tools, and upgrade equipment. Energy management is central to base operations, powering workshops, defenses, and contracts. The island is divided into regions with different threats, including robots, mines, and bosses, while missions and exploration gradually reveal its hidden history.
Their living guts, use them to grease the treads of our tanks. All right now, you sons of bitches, you know how I feel. I'll be proud to lead you wonderful guys in battle anytime, anywhere.
Derelicts is a survival game where players crash back onto a radiation-scarred Earth and must build a base while searching for the source of the disaster. Players gather wood, metal, and other resources, craft tools, and construct defenses against mutated animals and humans. Electricity systems use wind turbines, solar panels, and water wheels, with weather conditions affecting power output. Automation tools like pumps, pipes, and gutters help move materials, while exploration unlocks new recipes and equipment. Phantom Hellcat is a slasher platformer where players control Jolene as she fights demons across stage-like levels to rescue her kidnapped mother. Combat uses fast combos, dodges, and environmental attacks against enemies and bosses. Players collect and upgrade magical masks that grant new abilities, changing movement and combat options. Levels shift between 3D and 2D platforming sections, and players can replay stages to find collectibles, unlock skills, and uncover secrets hidden inside the mysterious theater.
You can be more aggressive now.
Copy that. Attacking.
Endurance Motorsport Series is a racing simulation where players take part in long-distance events as both driver and race engineer. On track, players control endurance cars from multiple classes and balance speed with tire wear, fuel use, and consistency. In engineer mode, players manage pit stops, monitor weather, plan repairs, and adjust strategy in real time. Races include changing conditions, mechanical issues, and incidents, with solo modes and online co-op where teams share driving and engineering roles. Lost Legions is an open-world survival game set after the defeat in the Teutoburg Forest, where players take the role of a stranded Roman soldier. Players gather resources, craft weapons and armor, build camps, and fight hostile tribes while trying to recover the Lost Legion banners. Other survivors can be rescued and recruited to help with gathering, crafting, or combat. The game supports solo play or co-op with up to 3 friends, with a story that unfolds through characters and missions.
Hey, you up?
Cairn is a survival climbing game where players control Ava as she attempts to reach the summit of Mount Kami. The game uses a realistic climbing system where players place hands and feet on holds, manage balance, and adjust posture to avoid falling. Players choose their own routes up the mountain, solve difficult sections on the wall, and set up bivouacs. Resource management is important, as food, water, medicine, chalk, and pitons must be used carefully during the ascent. MENACE is a turn-based tactical RPG where players command a strike force across different planets while responding to distress calls and facing an alien threat. Players recruit squad leaders, equip infantry, and deploy tanks and walkers, then fight in detailed turn-based battles that use cover, suppression, flanking, and weapon ranges. Between missions, players manage their mobile headquarters, build alliances with local factions, and choose which operations to take, with decisions affecting resources, relationships, and the wider campaign.
Fire mission underway. Bring in more!
Gungrave G.O.R.E Blood Heat is a third-person action shooter where players control the gunslinger Grave and fight through waves of enemies using fast gunplay and close-range attacks. Combat combines dual pistol shooting with melee strikes in a system built around stylish combos and continuous movement. The rebuilt version uses a new combat system, upgraded enemy AI, and 360-degree controls for smoother actions. Players also interact with the environment during battles while progressing through story-driven missions.
You actually want to deploy her? You cannot be serious.
Zero Parades for Dead Spies is an espionage RPG where players control operant Herschel Wilk on a difficult assignment tied to past failures. Gameplay centers on dialogue, skill checks, and decisions that affect allies, mental state, and story paths. Players develop abilities through a conditioning system, shape their character's identity, and listen to internal voices that offer advice. Encounters use a tactical view that pauses time, while failed checks lead to new situations rather than stopping progress.
We'll do what we always do. Throw more assets at the problem. We have plenty more.
I guess. She's a pathetic, fragile embarrassment. And her methods are so unhinged.
But they get results, no?
Long-range missiles get results.
Show a little faith. We're at the end of history. Everything that could go wrong already has.
Rules of Engagement: The Grey State is a tactical RPG shooter where players take the role of Striders, elite operatives sent into dangerous zones to recover valuable artifacts. Players create custom builds, enter missions with squads, and fight both hostile creatures and rival teams. Each run revolves around looting resources, surviving encounters, and extracting with what was found. Progression comes from equipment, abilities, and rewards earned through successful operations. Haunted Paws is a co-op adventure where two players control puppies trying to rescue their human friend from a haunted mansion. Players explore rooms, solve light puzzles, and deal with hostile creatures while using puppy actions like digging, sniffing, and barking. Each player can choose a dog breed, and teamwork is needed to uncover secrets and defeat enemies. The game mixes cooperative problem-solving with light combat and exploration inside the spooky mansion.